All right, so you guys wanted a deep dive video on the dual coil trimmer, and here it is. And we're going to put it through all the Barber's Lounge tests. We're going to put it through the heat test, the hit test, the battery test. We're going to take the machine apart and get into everything as usual. And I will say that right now, this is my go-to trimmer out of all of them right now. This is my go-to trimmer. How long it's going to stay that way, I'm not sure. But let's get into it, and let's start where we always do, with the blades. So out of the box, these blades come gapped, very sharp. So you're going to have a hard-hitting machine that is very high-powered. In my opinion, out of the box, they came a little too sharp. I dialed them back a little bit, just like this. You see the difference? And they're hitting very well right now. Not only that, but these blades have a nice crunch too when it's going through hair. Check it out. All right, so now let's take them off the machine and take a closer look at them. All right, so let's start off with the stationary blade. Now, the stationary blade has that traditional T shape. This blade has 46 teeth. It has a black titanium coated and this metal injection molded. That's a very high-end, precise way to make blades. They can do stuff like having that BaByliss logo engraved in the blade, flipping the blade over. You see there's no coating in the contact area, and probably the smallest oil reservoirs you've ever seen inside the teeth. That'll keep the oil in there, keep the blades lubricated. All right, now moving on to the cutting blade. Now the cutting blade is blue. Usually that means it's coated in titanium. So we're gonna say it's titanium, even though they don't specifically say it. This blade has 32 teeth, and we'll take a closer look at the shape of those teeth. It has that step down feature, which helps grab the hair, less snag. And some of the most favorite blades out right now pretty much have this shape. Flipping the blade over, you'll see we have no coating in the contact area, oil reservoirs in the feet, and a lot of metal removed to make the blade lightweight and more heat escape to keep it cooler. So speaking of that, let's give the blade a heat test and see how hot they get after 30 minutes of runtime. All right, so after 30 minutes, the dual coil trimmer got up to 106 degrees. That's not too bad for a machine moving this fast with that type of motor. But the body for this machine also gets hot. So I'm going to show you the body can hit 107 degrees in certain areas. But typically you're not going to be using a trimmer for 30 minutes straight. All right, so inside this trimmer, you have the dual coil motor. Basically, this is like a double vector motor. You have a coil on the left and a coil on the right. So it kind of doubles up the power and balances out the power as well. So this is a very high power trimmer. Let's see how it hits the brush. All right, so you see it could go through the brush pretty good and make some nice lines. Obviously, this is not real hair, and this is a very extreme scenario, but it shows you what the trimmer is capable of. It does snag a little bit if you try to go too fast through some bulk, but I didn't have a problem with it going through any bulk hair in real life whatsoever. Now let's check the RPMs. All right, so the dual coil trimmer is supposed to get 8,500 RPMs, and it has that adaptive torque feedback. That's basically like how a vector motor revs up when it encounters resistance. So we'll test that too. All right, dual coil on the idle speed. All right, so we're getting 8,200 RPMs when it's idling. A little bit low, but still a high RPM machine. And you actually don't even need that high of RPMs. It's just the industry trend right now where they're giving you all they got in terms of power and speed. Look at this machine. Double vector motor, over 8,000 RPMs in the trimmer. Now let's see how high we could get the dual coil to rev up to. All right, so we got the dual coil trimmer to rev up to 10,400 RPMs, and we could probably even get it to rev up even higher, but keep in mind, this does have a motor stall protection on it. So if you put it under too much stress, the machine is gonna shut down to protect itself, and then you are gonna get the lights to flash red just like that. And now let's talk about the battery, and a perfect segue to talk about that is those same lights you will get if you try to use the machine on the cord. This machine does not work on the cord. It has to be charged up. So how much are we supposed to get out of a full charge with the dual coil trimmer? Well, we're supposed to get up to 1.5 hours of cordless runtime. So let's test that. Let's put the machine in the Halo charging dock. Let's turn off the lights so you can see how cool it looks. Wait until we get a full charge. Throw the machine in the clamp. Hit the shot clock and see if we could achieve that 1 hour and 30 minutes runtime. All right, so we got 1 hour and 22 minutes for the dual coil trimmer. Pretty close to the advertised runtime, but still the advertised runtime is pretty low. You are gonna have to make sure this machine stays on the charger because that runtime is low. All right, and now getting into the body for the machine. Now up top, we have this magnetic drop top clean out lid. Magnets on here pretty strong, and I didn't accidentally flick it off when cleaning hair off the blades. Moving down, you have this elongated thumb indentation for people to hold the machine in different areas and different grips. You have the black translucent motor showcase window, dual coil engraved on the side. Moving down, you have a rubber grip that goes around the whole body, and the hair gets stuck to this rubber grip. I do find myself cleaning the rubber grip quite often. You have more showcase windows where the light pokes through on the side. Moving down, USB-C charging contacts. You have a ball style switch on the side. Turn the machine to the back. You see we have finger grooves, and these finger grooves wrap around the whole machine. And in hand, the machine feels super balanced. Definitely a comfortable machine, and you feel like you have a good grip on it at all times, no matter what things you may be doing. Now let's get into the weight and sound for this machine. Dual coil trimmer coming in at 8.7 ounces or 247 grams. Machine has some weight to it, but in a good way. Let's check the sound. Coming in at 68 decibels. For this high powered of a motor, definitely a quiet machine. And it's also a nice sound to begin with because it reminds you of the old electromagnetic motor corded machines. Now let's get into the price. Now for the price of the dual coil, at the time of this video, it's on the BaByliss website for $299.99, but you can find this machine up to $100 cheaper on other websites and mix in some coupon codes. But what comes with it for that price? Well, for that price, again, like the Clipper, you get a little BaByliss. So you get the machine, manual, USB-C charging cable, Halo charging dock that lights up, connects USB-C, has some grips at the bottom, and the zero gap tool. And if you guys don't know how to use this, you flick the hex head screwdriver out, loosen up the 2 screws on the cam, slide it. It'll push the cutting blade up, balance it out, straighten it out, and then you tighten it up. And that's how you use the gap tool. And that's all you get with the machine. All right, so now we're at the teardown section of the video. Let's open the machine up and see what we got inside. All right, now here's the inside of the dual coil trimmer. Now you see they pretty much packed everything in there as tight as they could. They got that high powered motor jammed in there, leaving as little space as possible. Motherboard, lights, battery underneath, USB-C. Not bad. Now let's get into the final thoughts. All right, so my final thoughts on the dual coil trimmer. Now, let's start with some cons. One, I didn't like that it came gap super sharp. I don't like that the body gets warm, but that's me being a little picky. If you're somebody that doesn't keep your machine on the charging dock, you're always gonna have charge anxiety and you're gonna feel like, oh, I gotta make sure that thing's charged. I don't want it to die on me, because it is sucking a lot of juice out of the battery. On the positive side, after getting the blades adjusted, I love the way it hits. I love the crunch it makes. I love how it removes bulk. I love the sound, and I love the power. Is it something I use on kids? Nah, I won't use this on kids. I just feel like it's overkill, and I'll use something maybe that's not as aggressive. And in terms of staying power on the station, I think the trimmer definitely has more staying power than the clipper, just from the performance alone. But time will tell. Right now, it does have a spot on the station. How long it will stay there, I don't know. But to tell you to pick it up when the price is that high for this machine, like it's that much of a jump over everything else, I can't say it is. But I do think it achieved what it's supposed to. And that's a hard-hitting, high-powered machine. Definitely for the pros. Choice is yours. Barber's Lounge.